Welcome back to Gale Force Wins Season 3.
Gale Force Wins podcast is proudly sponsored by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association. The NLCA provides unparalleled opportunities for its members through industry education, construction information, government advocacy, and networking events. The NLCA is building Newfoundland and Labrador. For more information, visit nlca.ca.
There is a tide in the affairs of men which, taken at the flood, leads on to fortune. Welcome to the Perchance to Dream podcast. I'm Alan Dale. With me, as always, is my good buddy, Jerry Carew, and what a pleasure it is to be out here on location in Conception Harbor and getting a little bit of a look behind the scenes, if you will. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm Nicole Hand. I am part of the music artistic team here at Perchance. Been a musician for almost all my life, and I play with the Newfoundland Symphony. I play saxophones in various bands around town, Ouroboros and a cover band called 709. And then whatever random projects come along in theater and opera and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I tend to do a lot of different things.
Nicole, tell us a little bit about your musical journey. Where did that start? Where was the big inspiration for all of that?
I think it started like in school. It was my biggest one. I did piano from a young age, but I had Katie Sullivan, you must know Katie, of course.
Very well.
As a trumpet player, was one of my first band teachers. And
was that Villanova by chance?
I went to Villanova, yeah. And then to Frank Roberts as well.
Right.
Yeah, in Villanova, yeah. And she used to trust me to do all kinds of random stuff, like, you know, fill in this bass clarinet part here and this, and then go over and read this saxophone part here, and I'd be like, okay, cool.
This is concert band, is it?
Yeah, in concert band. And then in grade 8, she bought a baritone saxophone for the school and gave it to me, and it was like, oh my God, I can still smell like that new case smell. And yeah, I've been playing baritone saxophone ever since. And then, you know, I think I always loved the collaborative nature of that type of like band and you know, choir thing, because I almost auditioned for music school and piano, but the group playing is where I love to thrive, I guess. So I went to high school in Queen Elizabeth for 6 weeks, and they didn't have a band, and I was so like distraught. I guess my parents figured out a way to get me to Holy Heart, and then used to carpool in with, there's 2 other kids from CBS who went every day. So then I ran into Grant Edgegary, and he gave me a bassoon, and that's what I ended up auditioning for music school on. And ever since then, it's just been kind of like one of those, I guess, Newfoundland things of, if you want to kind of figure out how to be a musician, you have to do a bunch of different things. So I went to school at Wilfrid Laurier for a couple of years to take some bassoon lessons.
Where's that located again?
In Kitchener, Waterloo.
Kitchener, right.
Yeah, and ran into one of my biggest inspirations, Nadina Mackey-Jackson, who was a fabulous, wild, incredible virtuosic bassoonist, but she's also, you know, visual artist. She had this shock of blue hair. She would wear these fabulous outfits on stage, and just had never really like seen that kind of lifestyle before. And you know, and not a lot of women, I guess, you know, doing. I think it's also really important to see someone who looks like you doing the thing that you maybe want to do. It kind of gives you a little permission to to go for it. So it's just kind of like, you know, seeing those important people, and then step by step being, you know, I guess just getting lucky to get random gigs and then building it up from there. I remember graduating from music school and then, you know, wanting to get my own apartment and stuff, and like looking at jobs in restaurants or whatever, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, I have a music degree. I think I'm gonna try, you know, at least try to like make a go of it at music. So yeah, like I said, just lucky enough to hit on some things in private teaching until I was able to be invited to play at the symphony, and that was a game changer. And yeah, just being in bands like 709 that are so professionally run by this guy who is you know, like a former lawyer and entrepreneur. So kind of getting a sense early on of the entrepreneurial things that are important to music. John Drover.
I did his wedding video, by the way.
You didn't.
Mm-hmm. I can reveal some of that.
There you go.
If you ever want to trick them.
They were going to trick him?
No, if you ever want to, you know, reveal a couple of pieces of it.
I would love to see his wedding video. They're one of the like power couples of all time. I love those guys.
So you've been making your living. You didn't do teaching. You had your own private school.
Teaching. Yeah. I knew I didn't want to do education. I don't know why, but I think I'm too much of an introvert. I'm not really cut out for the classroom thing. So
interesting.
Yeah, I knew I didn't want to do that. There's been a lot of indecision, I guess, along the way, because I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and it's always sort of like, okay, is this kind of a phase in your life, and then you go on to do other things? And so I have kind of like dipped my toes into other stuff along the way, but I've never been able to do anything else for any length of time. Yeah,
that's beating inside you for sure. I want to go back to that you talked about, and her name escapes me. You just mentioned it. She was a big inspiration for you when you were younger.
Kate Sullivan. Yeah.
Tell me about that experience when you first saw her and listened, and what was it about her that made you think this is something different here?
What was it about her? I guess the faith that she put in me, you know, and the kind of the way that she relied on me was really important. My grandfather used to say that people just want to feel like they're a part of something, and I think that's so true for anybody. But then, so in music, for a lot of people, maybe if you don't have like particular social strengths, maybe, you know, I always found it hard to make friends and things, but then you get into a band or a group, or you're relied on, and people value your skills, and it feels really good. So I think she was really good at identifying, you know, people's strengths and making them feel confident and making them feel good about themselves, and that stuck with me, and probably is like a big reason why I kept, you know, pursuing that feeling. But yeah, I get that same feeling here at Perchance as well. Danielle is also really good at that. She's really good at making people feel valuable and making them feel like their skills are important, and has a great sense of community here. And yeah, maybe it's a Newfoundland thing as well, but you know, just the way this season has been, and I think about the Newfoundland Symphony as well, like you know, how that started is kind of like mostly amateur with a few professional ringers, and it's only by the sheer force of will of some people over the years, the dedication to go above and beyond and do things that are not normally required, you know, that those types of groups have stuck around and been able to survive and get to the place they are today. So yeah, Danielle, I feel like, is like that as well, as that kind of, you know, that vision enough to, you know, gather all the people around and go forward despite, you know, there being obstacles in the way, that kind of thing.
Tell us about Perchance and what that means to you, the theater.
Oh my God, it's wild to have. I've never been like a solo artist, really. Like I said, I do best when I'm playing with other people or complimenting, you know, other people. So to have a place like this where the random skills I have are useful, like in the Flying Doctor this year, I'm you know, playing the saxophone, and someone will come up and say, can you play Baker Street while I do this little comedy move over here? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So when else is that ever useful? But here it's like, yeah, that's really useful, and it comes in handy. And I get to use my classical chops as well. Last year I played bassoon along with Noel Coward comedy, and I've played in lots of musical theater and opera and stuff around town, so kind of like knowing the beats and like what an overture is, and being able to sort of like write a little bit based on my experience. And Jody Richardson is the driving force behind the sound designs, and he can do anything. But I have this skill of being able to notate and transcribe, which just speeds up the process enough that we can do more exciting things together. So yeah, it feels incredible to be part of this. I feel like this company is just in its infancy, even though the offerings are so strong. There's such a long way that can go with it because of, like I said, Danielle's leadership and her vision and everything. So yeah, it means a tremendous amount to be a part of it at this stage and this level.
I love that. Right? There's nothing better than looking at a blank canvas in front of you and knowing that you can be part of creating something. That must be really cool in the moment.
Yeah, it's so cool. And Danielle gives you the space to imagine what things could be like. And it feels like a real community-based project now around here in Conception Harbor, because there have been so much support from the council and from the sisters who were so gracious in facilitating the transfer of this property. And so that inspires you to think of ways that you can give back to the community, and how can we, what are our skills, and how could that maybe help people? Maybe we could have music lessons that we offer at some point. Maybe we can do workshops. Maybe we can, we already talked to some kids who are musicians who have come see the shows. How great to be able to have a space where we can dream up new ways to interact with the community like that.
This room is so interesting. I mean, Alan and I love it from a podcast perspective.
Right?
This is fantastic.
It is beautiful.
Educational training, you can do so much.
Yeah.
Right? And it's intimate, isn't it, Alan?
No,
it's not like you wouldn't want 100 people in here, but you could really have an intimate session with people.
Absolutely. And Jody and I did a fun puppet show over Christmas. I don't know if you saw the video. It's on his YouTube to raise money for the food bank. We had kids come in, we did a puppet show at the house, but this would be a great space for a puppet show. He's already dreaming up stuff like that. So yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful space. There are rooms that you can stay in upstairs, and like I said, we just stayed over for the first time this weekend. It's so quiet at night. It just feels like such a nice space. It has a really good energy about it. Yeah.
Tell us about the shows that are offered this season and how the music plays into that.
There's a lot of music this season, and they're all really different, and the programming, there's something for everyone. So I guess the biggest musical component is High Steel, which has the songs by Ron Hines, and what a treat it was to sit down and listen to those cassettes, and to listen to his voice and try transcribe that music. So it was all for piano at the hall when the production was originally done, and now
there was no sheet music. You had to transcribe it from those cassettes.
Exactly. Wow. So what a treat! Like I said, random skills in my living room. It would mean nothing, but here it's like, okay, yeah, I can do that for you. And so Jody sort of took that and then changed the feel of the music to suit the guitars. We had the good fortune of having Sean Panting in the cast as well, who is a fantastic songwriter and guitar player, and so he kind of took the feeling of the piano at the hall and then changed it into the guitar feel that is on stage here in Conception Harbor, which is it works so well. And yeah, I loved that experience of doing that. The songs are fantastic. If you haven't heard, I think most people haven't heard these songs by Ron. No. And they're Ron songs. Yeah. So definitely.
It's a treasure.
Yeah, yeah. And
how many songs are there?
There are a lot. There are a lot of numbers in this.
Dozens?
I guess at least 10.
How long take you to transcribe all that?
Some more than others, but we were at it for a couple of weeks for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was thinking you're saying a couple of months. You're very efficient.
Yeah, and like I said, Jody can do all that. It is the efficiency that helps. So we're able, once we get it transcribed, he's like, okay, now we can do vocal harmonies on top of it, which didn't happen at the hall, in the hall versions. So yeah, it's really an honor to be able to add something on top of, you're building. Hopefully every time you do production, you do a little bit more on top of it, a little bit extra, and I think there's a lot that's so beautiful about this.
Is there any idea to re-record those with Jody singing them? Is that
I hope
something?
so. Usually they do an archival recording here, so yeah, I hope that gets done this summer, because it's really beautiful. So that's that show, lots of music. It's just so accessible for anybody who would enjoy it. Then we have The Flying Doctor, which is the one that I'm actually performing in this year. And it's just a wacky, good time. So I'm not a theater person. I've never really had much knowledge before last year. So I'm walking in and being like, okay, what's a commedia dell'arte? I have no idea. But it's this fantastic show. A lot of improv involved with masks and these kind of stock characters, like the villain and the lovers, and the play has been adapted by Evan Mercer to be a Newfoundland-based comedy. So it's so unique. I've never seen anything like it, and it is a hoot. So we're just using I think he said he'll talk about it, but there's a joke every 3 lines or something. We're using every musical trope, Looney Tunes thing you can imagine. I went to Rob Power and Bill Brennan, and they gave us a crate of slide whistles and train whistles and bird calls and.
So are you improvising your music a little bit as well during the show? Yeah,
there's a lot of improv, but sort of it's nailed down, and then a little bit of wiggle room in between. You know what I mean? It's always improv on stage a little bit, because you never know what's going to happen. That's the fun thing about live theater. But yeah, it's so much fun. It's really hard to describe, but Evan puts so much energy into that show, and the whole cast has this great chemistry where they are able to improv off each other. I'm not a theater person again, but I think there are these lotsies where you are encouraged to kind of find a little bit of improv on stage in this type of theater. So I love it. It's really, really fun. Jody plays accordion, and I play sax, and then all the literal bells and whistles in between. And the third show is The Tempest, and I think that's the one that I'm most enthralled with. It's such a beautiful soundscape. So music is kind of integrated into the play, as well as these kind of choral pieces in the middle that take place during this wedding that are sung by goddesses. So once again, Jody composed those originally, and last year I was able to transcribe them and then kind of form them into choral arrangements or a 3-part harmony. It's really, really something. They're very unique, and the sound hits you right from the first moment of the play, and then throughout it kind of takes you by surprise. So it's very magical. It's very it's very integrated. It brings you into the world. So sound is a really big part of that play. I'm really proud of that one. Yeah.
Oh wow! The description of those 3 would make anybody want to come here and see them.
I watch them all the time. I never get tired of it, really. Yeah, it's really, really fun for me.
You're on a discovery, aren't you? You're not a theater person, but you are in the midst of a theater.
I really am, yeah. I'm so happy to be finding out these things.
Yeah.
It feels like right place, right time stuff, for sure. Yeah.
So looking over the horizon, what are you most excited about in this year, in this season, and beyond?
I'm really excited to see people come to the shows. That honestly is so rewarding. It doesn't matter how many people are in the audience, getting that laugh out of people or seeing them react to the kind of magic is really meaningful. So I'm excited to play the season. Next year, all the things that sort of we're learning by trial and error, and that Danielle is learning by trial and error, is going to be crafted into this beautiful new theater that they're eventually going to have in the space. And music is going to be a big part of the fabric going forward, I think. So I think that's a unique part of theater in Newfoundland. I'm not sure, but I don't know anywhere else where music is so integrated and being sort of like built along with the theater vision. And it's really cool. It is really cool. I really like it a lot.
It'd be neat to get Jazz East out here, just to disclose.
Well,
I'm in a jazz band that you periodically play in and fill in, but that would be neat, wouldn't it, to have Jazz East out there?
Yeah, it'd be amazing. There's the sky's the limit, like really. And like I said, the community is so supportive. Everyone's so interested. We just ran into the neighbors, on a walk this morning, and they were like, "What's on the go? I heard you guys playing," And it's like, yeah, come and check it out, So everyone's really curious. It's great.
Well, what an absolute pleasure it was to be in conversation with you. Thank you so much for taking time out to kind of give us a behind-the-scenes look, particularly from the music lens, and we certainly appreciate it. Sounds like you guys are onto some great things here, and we highly encourage everybody to come on out here and check it out.
Yes, please. Thank you
Nicole,
so much.
it's a pleasure to actually learn a little bit more about you, despite the fact that we've been in band together. Don't get a chance to chat much.
Right?
Trumpets are in the back. You're in the front. I will disclose that I know your grandfather.
Really?
And your mother. So feels I'm getting older when I know grandparents. Anyway, thanks again.
Thank you so
Pleasure.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Wins. That's Gale Force Wins, WINS.com.